Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to show you how I created this eye look I am wearing right here. I am just keeping it more focused just on the eyeshadow portion, so I didn't do really any of my face or anything like that with you guys. I do plan on doing a full face routine because I see it is so highly requested on my TikTok account. Another routine I want to do for you guys is my eyebrows. I am supposed to get them done next Friday, a touch-up of powder brows. So I might take you guys with me just to show you that process. I had no idea what I was going into when I first went in, and I was so scared, but she did a really good job, so I'm going to get them touched up. But I wanted to do those two things with you guys. I'm going to try to get them up as soon as possible. However, I did post that black smoky eye on my TikTok, and that is just blowing up, and there's so many of you guys requesting that tutorial, so I think that's going to be the next one. I want to get through Halloween, and then I'll probably get through to some of those foundation, skincare, eyebrows, stuff like that. So I do plan on doing quite a lot more of these kind of tutorials for you guys. But if you guys have any other requests, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will write them down and add them to my ongoing list I have. So I just want to thank you guys again so much for the love and sweet comments and just being so kind. I seriously appreciate every single one of you guys and all of the support that you guys are showing me. It is seriously just unbelievable. I never thought that this many people would actually want to watch my videos or like my makeup, so it literally just, my heart just bursted when I saw all of your guys' comments and follows and likes and just sweet, kind, just such nice comments. So I really appreciate you guys, and I really hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. Again, if you guys try this out, please tag me. I would love to see your guys' recreations. I literally get so excited. I'm like a kid on Christmas morning when people tag me in their stuff. I love it. So please tag me if you guys try out one of my looks. I would love to see. Other than that, I just want to say thank you guys again so much, and I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I'm going to start this look off with the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and the first shade we're going to go into is this shade here called Golden Ochre, and I'm taking that on an M505 brush. With this shade, I'm just going to be starting in the crease and then really blending it out everywhere. I take this almost all the way up to my eyebrow. I do extend this out just a little bit past the tail of my eyebrow just to make my eyes appear a little bit bigger, and then I do take this just right up on the side by my nose to blend it into the nose contour. Now I'm going to go into the Morphe x Jaclyn Hill Volume 1 palette, and we're going to take the shade here, Creamcicle. And I'm using an M535 brush, which is just a really fluffy blending brush. Now we're just going to dust this here all over the brow bone and crease area. This is just going to really start warming it up and giving it that nice orangey, yellowy, warm tint. Also throughout this look, I'll just grab this same brush with not too much product, and I'll just go in and just touch this up because I want this to stay vibrant, and I'll show you guys when I do that though. Going back into the Modern Renaissance palette, I'm going to take this shade here called Realgar, and I'm using the M518 brush. Make sure to tap your brush off after you go into product, and it will help alleviate some of that fallout you guys are getting on your cheeks. With this Realgar shade, we're just keeping this here in the crease, and then we will just lightly fade this up onto the brow bone and to those other shades. That will create a nice like gradient and ombre effect. Now I'm going to pick up with the same brush a little bit of this shade here called Jax, and I'm just grabbing a small amount of that, again tapping the brush off, and then I'm going to kind of deepen up the center part of the crease right here. Just back and forth motion, kind of like a rainbow or like a windshield wiper motion. I'm gonna wipe the rest of that off because I just wanted a small amount, and now I can really go in and blend this back and forth, And then use circular motions again, like I said, blending that up onto those other colors to make everything just look, like I said, very blended and faded and blurred. Okay, and now I'm going to change over to an M441 brush, and I'm going to grab the palette Soft Glam by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Looks like this. And this palette, I'm going to pick up the shade Sienna right here. Just a little bit of that product. And I'm going to really deepen up this crease here, kind of going onto the lid as well. We are going to cover it with a shimmery shade, but keeping this, it'll help just keep this shade lower in that crease. Now with that 535 brush again, I picked up the smallest amount of that Creamcicle shade, and I'm just going to lightly stamp and fluff this on this line just to keep that orangey tone vibrant, like I said in the beginning. For the shimmer shade on my eyelid, I took the shade Sultry here out of the Soft Glam palette, and I mixed that in with the shade SBN out of the JHill palette. I showed how I mix shades in my last video, so if you haven't seen that, go ahead and watch that because I showed exactly how I mix shades when I'm creating other shades or mixing these. With this one, I grabbed a pretty even amount between the two, maybe a little bit more of that sultry shade than the SBN, but pretty even. And then I'm going to spray this because it helps with fallout and it helps bring in more pigment. What I do is I just take my swivel mirror, I push the mirror upwards so I can see myself. That way I can look down into the mirror and expose my entire eyelid. And then I just start by patting this on, usually on the center. And then I work my way over to the inner corner. And then up into the lower crease area. I usually take this up to the crease about where you would take like a cut crease. To be honest, I never have done a cut crease look before, but this is my cheating version of a cut crease, I guess. When working in the inner corner, you can look towards the outer corner to get further into the inner corner. And then I'm going to dust this very lightly up onto that crease. Just add a little shimmer, but not too much color. I want those orange and yellow tones to stay visible and vibrant. So that is all you're going to do with that shimmer shade. I have a little bit of fallout on my cheek. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I can't really see it in the viewfinder, but I'm just gonna take a big fluffy brush and just lightly dust that away. For the outer corner, I'm going to go back into the Soft Glam palette and I'm going to grab the shade here called Mulberry. Yeah, it's Mulberry. And I'm just going to take that on the tip of this brush, tap off the extra, and then I'm going to start stamping this in the outer corner. So I want most of the pigment like in this like area right here. And then as most of that product leaves, I'll kind of start stamping it up on the outer crease brow bone area to make my eye just kind of open up a little bit. And then I'm also going to start using like little back and forth motions here. It's almost like a back and forth with a little bit of a circular motion to slightly blend that out. Then I'm going to just barely drag this into the crease about halfway. Just to make it look nice and blended and really start shaping my eye. With the same brush, I'm now going to take this shade here, Cyprus Umber, and I'm going to take just a little bit on the very tip of this brush and adding this on the very outer corner just to make it a little bit darker and add a little bit more depth. Wipe the rest of that off and really blend that out. Now with an M573 brush, I'm going to go back into the JHill palette and grab some of this shade here called Mocha. And I'm just taking a little bit of that and I'm going to dust this around the edges just to really blur those lines and get it well blended. Now going back with that 535 brush, I'm going to grab the smallest amount of that Creamcicle shade and dust around the edges because I want that yellowy orange tone back in there and nice and vibrant. So you'll just lightly stamp it just like that. Now I'm going to grab the shade Rose Pink here. On the same brush I put the other shimmery shades on, so the M433 brush. We're grabbing a small amount of that, wetting the brush, and then we're going to fade the lines between the shimmer and that outer dark color. I don't want too much of that sultry shade, but I also don't want too much of the rose pink shade. So kind of going back and forth between those until I get it to how I like it. But you're just using small amounts to kind of blend those out to your liking. Now going back in with an M518, I'm grabbing just a little bit more of that Realgar shade, tapping off the brush, and we're just going to add it right here. Very lightly, light amount of product, light hand, not too heavy of pressure on your brush, and just put it in the center of the crease and then up onto that brow bone. And that'll help just make it look a little bit more orangey and warm. We'll take the 535 brush, a little bit more of that butter shade, and just lightly stamp it on there. Then what I do is I just take the brush 513, and whatever is left on there from that outer corner, I just very lightly go back in and just dust over that area that I put the outer corner on. For the lower lash line, I'm going to use the brush M506, and I'm going to go back into this shade here called Golden Ochre. And I'm just going to take that, tap off the extra. Then I'm just going to start using little back and forth shimmy motions from inner to outer corner. Now we're going to take a little bit of Creamcicle here, just a small amount. And we're just going to add that over top to really start warming that up and bringing in that orangey tone. We're gonna go back into Realgar, take a little bit of that, start adding it in there. Now we're going to work on the outer corner lower lash line. So we're going to go into the shade Mulberry here. We're just going to work this on like the outer half of my lower lash line. So I'll bring this over into the corner here, and I'll just like swirl it around and moving out further. And it just helps bind those together really easy. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the Cyprus umber. And again, we're just going to really work this in on the outer corner. But this one will only go maybe a third of the way in. Then we'll take that 573, and we're going to grab a little bit more of that mocha shade, which is here, and just a small amount, tap off the extra. I really want a small amount on this, and then just kind of blend these outer corners together. Now I'm going to grab that M506 brush again, and I'm taking a little concoction of that Sultry and SBN shade, and then I'm just going to wet the brush. And then we're going to put this on the inner like 2/3 of your lower lash line. And then now I'm going to take that 535 brush, nothing more is on this, just whatever is on there, and I'm just going to dust this along that edge on the lower lash line, and I'm just trying to blur that line out so it doesn't look harsh or anything like that. Now grabbing some of this rose pink shade, I'm just going to put this on the center of my lower lash line. So just mirroring what we did on the eyelid. So now what I do is I like to really blend and smoke out that lower lash line. So I will just use brushes with no extra product and just start blending that out. So right now I'm just taking the M518 brush and I'm just starting on the inner corner. And I'm just blurring this line. So I'm not up by my actual eyelashes. I'm down here on this line. And I'm just blurring this out and buffing it out, blending. And this really helps your smoky eye just get really blended and just smoked. And then I'm going to take the 535 brush with a small, super small amount of that Creamcicle shade. And I'm going to just really lightly dust it on there. Now I'm taking butter and doing the same thing. Just creating that nice orangey tone down there. I'm going to add a little bit of this shade Tempera in the inner corner on the 506 brush and just lightly kind of swirling that in there and down into the eyeshadow so everything blends, and then up into this little pocket right here. That way everything is blended and not just bopped in one spot. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and finish up my face, add a little bit of mascara, and I'll come back to show you guys the completed look. Alright you guys, so here is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And if you want to, I would super appreciate it. I really want to try to get monetized by the end of the year, so every single subscription helps. So I just want to thank you guys all so much again for the love and support throughout my TikTok and Instagram and here on YouTube. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate every single one of you guys, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye! Mwah!